Hey guys, did the Asim here to give you a island discussion video where we're gonna be talking about the Slavic Islands event. Here, I just gotta turn down the volume here. There we go, just a little bit there. Uh, we're gonna be talking about the monsters left or right. Are they good? Are they not good? And just overall, the total result of this island? Is it really great or is it really terrible? I'm gonna tell you that today. In terms of overall monsters. Now, one of the monsters that should be in this island event is not currently in it, and people are wondering why. A lot of people think Mega Ostium is a mistake, that Mega Ostium shouldn't be there. It should be the Earth Legendary. The Earth Legendary is not in the roster of things you can get. I'm not mentioning Baba Yaga here. I'm mentioning the Warrior monster. I think they did this by mistake. I think Mega Ostium was put in there by mistake. It should have been the whatchamacallit. They could be planning for something else though. It might not be in the island event. It could be like a straight up challenge or something. Maybe just a way for players to get them for free. I don't know for sure, but they mentioned him in the birthday thing. So I'm assuming they have a plan for it. He's just not in he's not in the island, which is weird because he's part of the event. Why is he not in the event? So let's just get to talking about the monsters now. First up, the first epic monster to get is Pegasus. Pegasus is a light and nature epic monster. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I think you can either breed. I think this was either A, breedable, or B, just not. I mean, you could get this in a dungeon, I think, or just it just didn't seem all that good. At least that I can't remember it being good. I don't remember it being good. I think it's just a really easy epic. I can't remember on top of my head. I just know it's not that much of a fan favorite. Smeargle. Now, Smeargle is a pretty interesting monster. Um, he's a light and thunder monster, and I think he gives weaknesses to light and thunder attacks. I think that's what his dealio was. So he's one of the first monsters that give a 80% weakness to thunder and light, I believe. I believe that's the case. I'm not 100% sure on it, but I think that was his deal. I think he gives debuffs on weaknesses to those elemental attacks. So he's good for those things. Overall, pretty nice epic monster, I think. I think that's what people are perceiving him as. So yeah, that's a thing. All right, Drek. Drek was part of the whatchamacallit event, the Dragon Maze. So he's part with the maze with Gorin, Frostwraith, and M2 Wyvern. Drek was the least impressive out of the dragons, simply because his moves were on high cooldowns, and he didn't do much different than other nature monsters. He can give everybody immune to burn. That's a thing. And he's mostly a healer. For the most part, he just heals. You should just make him a healer. He has a spammable daze, and I think he can poison too. He doesn't really have any AoE presence whatsoever. Zero AoE damage. He's really good in the fact that you don't have to buy him. Like, you don't have to spend gems to collect him in the book. He is part of the Dragon's book. So this is a good time to pick him up because you can basically get him for free. He's basically the free legendary you can get for this event. And will you ever use him in battle? You probably rarely use him. Is he a good monster to get off your book? Yep, absolutely. Get him if you can get him for free. Get him. That's all I'm saying. If you basically get him with little to no gems, this is a good time to get him. There's 11 days, so that's totally possible. You can get this thing before this event ends. Wolfington. Now Wolfington is pretty great. Wolfington. He's really great in the fact that he has an AoE double damage buff that removes negative, I believe. That's the hugest thing about him. I can't remember what he does beyond that. He's a good epic support. That's mainly what he does. Mega Ostium. Now, Mega Ostium is a really good fire monster and a good monster to rank up. Of course, if you're gonna go through this whole event through and through, you're gonna get if you this event through and through, odds are you'll get this monster. Mega Asim is a pretty solid fire monster or legendary monster. Really high end damage, spammable 65 damage move. He's one of the very few monsters that have a really high end damage that's spammable. 65 damage is a lot for a spammable move, and I think the drawback is it costs a lot of stamina. That's not too much of a concern because stamina regen just got a buff recently, so it's immensely better. He's also really good in the books. He's part of the Dragons book, and he's also part of the Underworld or Undead book. I don't. So he's part of the Undead book, which is really helpful. Really, really great. He also can do a self buff that gives him double damage, precision, and it refills his stamina. Really nice, really good. Good for when he gets stamina drained himself. So essentially, if you have stamina regen up on him and you do that move, you essentially just get all your stamina back. You're all good to go. If you get 50% stamina drained, you can use that, and you get most of your stamina back, or at least like forever how much that move costs you. You get that much back. So essentially, you use the move is pretty much a freebie, and you get some energy back. Fadani, this guy looks like a lot like a WoW character. For the most part, just to keep it simple, this guy is immune to freeze, and he's pretty much the newest water monster that can do AoE life regen. We haven't had a water monster to do AoE life regen since the Prisoner. So you can essentially think of this guy as a improved prisoner, or like he has improved buffs and or like gives him all that jazz. He's essentially a better prisoner because what he's a single target move essentially. Then he does a AoE buff when he's done hitting someone or anything. Just he doesn't have to land the hit obviously, but he does a single target attack and then a buff happens. So he has an AoE immunity to possession that also could possibly counter even Hackster's possession because it says possession area other. Whenever it says other, it means like it can counteract with other possession. So even if it's advanced possession, you can jump right over it, which is really, really neat. It's really helpful. Really good water monster. Is it worth the trouble? If you really want a really good water denier, it's not really essentially it's not a denier, but he's a denier of the enemy water denier. If they just mainly focus on freezing, if the enemy monster focuses on freezing, you can bring this guy and essentially keep them from even doing anything. They can't deny with AoE freeze. This is very good against things like mostly frostbite. Frostbite's one of them. Where it's just Kalik, Cypherus, Faruna. I can't name any more on top of my head at the moment, but just those main freezers, especially Krampus too. he's a huge Krampus counter essentially because he can also remove debuffs. AoE is an AoE remove debuff, so essentially you can counter Krampus, which is really, really nice. AoE life regen, single target possession skill, and words. He does an AoE damage boost too. He has an AoE. It's not double damage, but it's a single damage boost. It's good for when you're dazed or poisoned or anything like that. So essentially, it saves your damage. Baba Yaga. Okay, so this is basically the one monster that everybody wants, and it's the last monster in the event. It is a super strong earth monster. It's the fastest, as far as I'm concerned, it's the fastest earth monster in the entire game. Holding the I don't know if it's as fast as Tessaday, but it's a pretty fast, we'll just say fastest earth denier, because essentially I think it holds like a 498 speed or something crazy like that, and it can AoE possess. It can AoE blind and remove all positive effects, and it does a AoE damage reduction and negative healing. So nobody on the enemy team can benefit from healing moves. Now that's huge because there's a lot of monsters that genuinely do AoE life regen. Mostly on defense, we see Oros or something like that. They can't heal. Essentially, it takes part of his kit away. If you can just essentially just keep stealing Oros's stuff, Oros can't do his thing. If this monster shares the same books with Oros, Oros is done for. Oros is not going to have a good day anymore. As soon as people start walking around with this thing, this is a really high tier monster too. In terms of possession, it's just great control all around AOE possession. Really nice, really great. Of course, it's the last monster in the event. So obviously, if you just wanted to get Baba Yaga, it'd be worth it. Based on her skills, yeah, it would be. Her skills are really powerful. She's not a bad monster. Really strong. uh, Things that can counter her, things that are already immune to possession. So things like Lamuna, magic monsters in general are immune to possession. Yeah, and all that jazz. Gretchen's essentially faster than her, but Baba Yaga can prevent Gretchen from healing her allies with the Beetle-Toe potion, or like she can't use Beetle-Toe potion because Baba Yaga is going to do an AOE negative healing, or like they instead of like for the most part, negative healing isn't exactly opposite healing or anti-healing in terms of if you ever use like troll or something like that, that's not really her thing. It just cancels out the healing, or like it's negate healing. It's not negative healing, you know, which is vastly different. Overall, I really like. Obviously, you will always like the last two monsters, or like the last three, depending on the situation. I really like the fact I don't have to. I really like Drex up for grabs, just so I can fill that in my book and be done with it. Uh, I'm glad that part of my book is done. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to pickpocket or anything like. You don't have to waste gems to fill out your book for your keeper and all that jazz. So it's a good monster to get done in your book, or your chapter. But beyond that, yeah, I'm not too excited for this event. I'm kind of not, because I think I'm only going to get up to, realistically speaking, either Wolfington or Mega Ostium. I'm not too excited for this event, in all perfect honesty. I'm just being honest. But yeah, I'm glad I'm going to get Dreg done in my book. That's the only highlight. I'll just use them just to fill out my book. Let me know what your thoughts on this event are in the comment section below. If you have any questions, please do let me know. I'll answer them. And yeah, I'm Dib the Awesome. I will catch you guys later.